various times they've talked about doing it again, coming back as a special, which is the way I considered doing it. And maybe I'd like to. Who knows? I'm probably still wearing the same jacket, still driving the same old Toyota pickup truck, going around somewhere. He's a creature of habit and a good guy. I don't think he's got ambitions. That's his great strength and probably one of his great failings, that his ambitions they're drawn in lines of, I like to live life first, ambition comes afterwards. And if a good antique comes along in the meantime, God bless it. And he doesn't want to own antiques, Lovejoy. Lovejoy never wanted to own anything. A thing of beauty stood for itself. Like antiques or women. He was fond of women, he was fond of antiques, not antique women. Don't let's get those confused. He was very much partial to the fairer sex. And he did like a drink. And he liked the good things in life. But he liked to be free. He liked to be his own man. And, he wasn't an angel all the time, but he was on the side of the angels. And I like to believe that he had a sense of integrity and character. And that's what appealed to me to play him every year in various guises, wherever he was living. However, if he'd lost his money the year before, he'd set himself up the next year. And he was committed, and he was a very enthusiastic character. Lovejoy didn't get down on things. He represented optimism and life, which I think was part of the appeal of the program, and it was exemplified by the other people. And it was a bit like The Simpsons. They never got older. I think Lovejoy would still be celebrating his 41st birthday somewhere in the world. My wife's American, Gwen, and we lived here, and I was going back, and I'd gone back and forth between here and here being Los Angeles as we sit now, and London for many years, and combined a sort of successful career on both sides of the Atlantic. Lovejoy really did take me away for a time from LA, and then because I used to sort of take a break at the end of the year. I mean, we'd start in May and go right through till like December. Then I'd take a holiday. I'd come here, back to LA. We kept a home here at the time, and then I'd do maybe a movie but it was more difficult then. But at the end of Lovejoy, when Lovejoy finished, I think the crunch comes if you realize I took myself away from television. I did another series after that, which I produced and did, Madsen, about a lawyer, 6-parter. And then I did a couple of specials, but Soul Survive, which I produced about a guy who goes searching for his favorite rock band, which was great fun to do with that. We had Isaac Hayes in it, and some American, for America, his favorite American soul band, I should say, called Soul Survivors. And that was shown here on Showtime television. But you really, because television burns you up a little bit. And I decided not to stay away from it after that. So after 96, I sort of took myself out of television. I said, no more television for a while. I did some plays and a movie. Then in 99, I did Sexy Beast, which became a cult film in a funny way, especially here in USA. And which led to doing Deadwood, which is another television series, which I'm about to do now, which for HBO. It's about to open. So who knows, that could be another 6 years. I was sitting in England, and last year, when was it now? No, in 2002, I just finished Trust, a series with Robson Green I did for the BBC, again, about corporate lawyers. And my agent said, they've come back, do you want to do a screen test for us? Well, you get rather obvious, you don't do screen tests. He said, well, it's a script by David Milch, it's been directed by Walter Hill. I said, well, where do we go? Where do we talk about this? And I read the script, which was extraordinary. And I did the screen test, and they flew me out here, met with Walter and David and HBO, and 3 weeks later we were filming Deadwood, the pilot. They picked it up in January 2003, and we filmed it all of 2003, finished in February 2004, and it opens the end of March. And it's quite a show. It follows The Sopranos, and it's Gunsmoke it ain't, put it that way. It's a revisionist Western in a way about what life was like, what life could have been like in 1876 in a gold strike town like Deadwood, which is not a town, I beg your pardon. It was a camp on Indian territory, which means they're really all there illegally, but they're forming a society where there's not been anyone before. And for every guy who's there for legitimate reasons, be it a miner or be it a businessman, there's 10 hustlers waiting to take his money from him. And at the height, there was like 5,000 people living. And my character, Swearingen, who runs the dope and the whores and the booze, as he says, I've been a booze pharaoh and pussy man my entire career, that's what he does, was taking in $5,000 a day in 1876. And so there was money to be made in them there hills, as they say. And it's been great, and we should start series 2 in the summer. I've been very lucky in the many different, kinds of light comedy, Lovejoy, drama, Deadwood, but it also has its light moments. I mean, it's not, because it's David Milch, it's the guy who created NYPD Blues, so it goes through the spectrum of human behavior, which is any good show should. Lovejoy wasn't lightness all the time. I think it was, to go back to Lovejoy, I loved it when we brought Phyllis back, when he was about to get married for all the wrong reasons, and she comes back in his life, not to marry him, but for advice. There was some good... You're talking about the show now, I've been sitting here, I've got such great memories of it and doing it. It was a terrific show, Lovejoy. The Last Tango in Lavenham, I loved and hated because it was the last show, and because it had Phyllis. We brought back Phyllis for it, but also it was bittersweet because Lavenham is such a snobby. All respect, Lavenham, I love you, but you're the snobbiest town in the world. It was very funny, and I forget because I've been staying in the hotel, and we used to move around locations, as I said, and I was in the Swan, the great hotel in Lavenham, I'd been staying in the hotel for 4 months. And they said, "Oh, Mr. McSHANE, next week we have a wedding coming in, and the suite's been booked for 4 months, so we'll have to ask you to move." I said, "That's okay. Move for the night." Well, I said, "Well, no, we have no room in the hotel." I said, "Excuse me? No, you'll have to move." I said, "You're not offering me? I've been in this hotel for 4 months. You're asking me to leave?" "Yes, we don't have anywhere else." I said, "Fine, well, I'll leave now then." So I left then. That's very English, don't you find? Sort of a strange sidebar. So I love you, Lavenham, and I love you. It's never the end. I think, but the last line was, "Lovejoy doesn't live here anymore," wasn't it? I seem to remember. Last Tango in Lavenham. We filmed it in Lavenham, which has got the most beautiful streets in the world. It's got all the great Anglo-Saxon churches outside it. It's the hub. It's the sort of social centre down there in Suffolk. Lady Jane came for tea. We had Phyllis's character came back. Phyllis came back for the show. It's where I dump Charlotte at the altar, take off in a helicopter, and leave and have the great line, and then come back in the car. And I think I said to camera, Lovejoy doesn't live here anymore. Has Lovejoy grown up? Is he leaving? Is he It was a strange end. I haven't watched it for so long. Is it bittersweet? That's what we tried to make it. Bittersweet. Happy days. Well, I hope you enjoyed the shows. I've enjoyed making them. Doing these interviews have brought a lot of the fun and a lot of the pleasure back that I had at the original time when we did them. And I hope you've had as much pleasure watching them as I did making them. Thank you.